Did you watch Trump's speech last night? Today's the 9th, January 9th, 2019. Last night, on the 8th, Trump gave an Oval Office address about immigration. And this is really simple. The way to pull the rug out of the Democrats on this issue, this is a national security issue, and it really is, because Iran, for the past decade plus, has been in bed with Venezuela financially and militarily. Iran created Hezbollah in Lebanon, I believe in the early 80s, to counter Israeli occupation of southern Lebanon. And Hezbollah has since grown into an army. It's in Lebanon. It has de facto control of the country, even though technically the Lebanese government does. But these are guys who they went to war with Israel in 2006, and they fought to a stalemate. These are guys who know how to fight. Now they have a lot of combat experience. They've been fighting in Syria alongside Iranian troops and Assad's forces to try to squash the rebellion. These guys are trained by Iran. They're funded by Iran. They're, equipped by Iran. Some of these are the same guys that killed American soldiers in Iraq during our occupation of that country. These are some of the same guys that killed us, that killed our guys, that maimed our warriors over there. Well, about 5 to 10 years ago, Iran started a Hezbollah inside of Venezuela. And by the way, this same Hezbollah in Lebanon, they're the ones that they detonated. We had Marines in Lebanon in the early 80s, I think in 82 or 83. They blew up a United States Marines barracks, and I think killed like 280 of us, American citizens, Marines. And I think we lobbed some cruise missiles, and that was about it. We didn't really hit them in the heartland, like southern Lebanon, like in the valleys and stuff. That's an act of war, but at the time, U.S. government's response was, and I believe Reagan even was in office at the time. I believe Reagan was. And he dropped the ball, and he didn't hit him like how he should have. He lobbed some cruise missiles, and he said pretty much his administration, don't tug at Superman's cape. And then we left Lebanon. And, this is the same group, Hezbollah. Iranians are Persian. They're not Arab. They're Persian. And they can easily pass as a Spanish person from Honduras or Guatemala or Ecuador or Bolivia or Venezuela or Mexico. So, these guys, imagine, let's see, the Iranians have their foreign military branch is called the Quds Force. They're the ones responsible for going overseas and making armed proxies, kind of like tentacles from Iran. Except this tentacle crosses the Atlantic into Venezuela. And Quds Force is there. I don't know how many Iranians themselves are there, but from the indigenous population, along with Iranian, probably the best of the best from the Iranian military, their version of our Navy SEALs, for instance, give them an elaborate backstory to prove that they're Spanish. Teach them Spanish, won't be an issue. We do this kind of crap in Afghanistan all the time. We have American citizens that look like freaking Taliban, and they have backstories, and they have the accents down, and the dialects and all that, and the Iranians, they're not stupid. If you were at war with America, wouldn't you use this as an opportunity, this immigration thing, to come up in the United States? I would. They're already here. They've already crossed over. But imagine a group of just 10, the Iranian equivalent of 10 Navy SEALs popping up in one of these caravans and rushing the border and getting across. And imagine just them unleashing their crap into a city somewhere. Think of Mumbai, the attack in Mumbai, India in 2008. How those guys just spread out through the city. They're heavily armed, they had grenades, and they just locked the city down. They killed hundreds of people. Well, no doubt they're already here, because we have caught migrants from Syria. There was an incident in Texas about a year or two ago where we caught 2 military-age men from Syria at the border with Mexico and Texas. There was a little blip in the media about it, and then nothing more was heard. Kind of got blacked out. there were it was either 3 guys or 5 guys trying to cross from Canada, again, military-age men from Syria, because Trudeau has let in about 35,000 Syrian migrants, refugees so far. That number, I'm sure, has gone up. We caught a couple of guys who were actually affiliated with ISIS, Syrian guys trying to cross into New York from Canada. Saw a blip of it on the media, and then nothing more. That was it. Recently, they said something like there have been 3,000 incidents, and this is coming from a source that I have not verified, but that there have been 3,000 incidents of us finding people of Middle Eastern descent trying to cross into the border either from Canada or from Mexico. And again, the Iranian Quds Force down there in Venezuela, Russia trying to make contacts, trying to make an alliance system to go against the Monroe Doctrine by trying to nudge in our backyard in the Western Hemisphere. Monroe Doctrine says you stay out of our crap, we'll stay out of your crap. We're up in Russia's crap, but still, we don't want them over here. They're establishing a network with Cuba, Bolivia, Venezuela. The new president in Brazil is kind of like a Trump dude, and he wants America, he's invited us to make a brand new military installation there in Brazil, which is really cool. But anyhow, the way to solve this, the way this rant started was all that Trump had to say last night to build his own political capital and to pull the rug out of the Democrats is to say all the stuff I just said. It is a legitimate national security threat to have these people coming up through here. It's legitimate. Iranian Quds Force, and think about the Sunni Arabs, the backbone of Al Qaeda, sending their best guys over here and sneaking up through the Mexican border. I recently read a disturbing article that came out today, I believe, saying that there's a border town in Texas and they're still doing catch and release, even though Trump has rescinded that. They're catching and they're releasing them back into the population, and they're not vetting them. They're just releasing them, and they're doing it so fast that these people, these migrants, these illegal, immigrants seeking refuge in our country, they don't even have time to make travel arrangements. So they're bottled up there. It's because we have a lack of facilities for them to stay in. And that's just one border town in Texas, and I pray that that's the only place where that's happening, and that's bad enough. You got these military-age men, a lot from the Middle East, they're coming up through there. You got Iranians coming up through there. You got these Sunni extremists coming up through there. They all blend in. They look Spanish, coming in from freaking Canada because it's Trudeau. Thank you, Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, or President of Canada, whatever. Thanks for letting in those tens of thousands of Syrian migrants and refugees. Really cool. Thank you. Appreciate it. Now we need a freaking border with Canada. That's all Trump had to say. He did an okay job with that, but if he would have painted this like how I just did into that camera last night, any Democrat that wanted to challenge this crap with border security and the $5 billion that he wants for the wall, which isn't a lot, the Democrats and the Republicans will spend $10 billion to make sure that a school has enough ketchup packets. He just wants $5 billion to do steel barricades. He's making concessions with the Democrats, but had he made the argument that I just made, you can even use graphs like Bibi Netanyahu in Israel. You can pull some graphs out. I don't know, a little pointer, a little laser pointer. Had he done that, any Democrat, or any politician for that matter, who went against his policy of wanting to get $5 billion to put up barricades along the border, it would almost be suicide for their political career, because now they're soft on national security. And Trump could have listed a number of incidents in which I just did, in terms of the Iranian presence in Venezuela, how they mix in, they look like, he have the Trump flair, have him break it down in the Trumponian style that he uses. And then any politician that came out against it, like I said, he's soft on national security. It would freak people out in America to know this stuff, but he should have brought up some instances where, we caught 5 people from, they're Iranians, and we caught them trying to get in through Texas. Or you can even, he could have done a lot more and painted this as a national security issue. Instead, his address last night still left a racist type of element. And that gives the Democrats political capital, because the only thing that they have really to run off of is, we don't like Trump, so you should vote for us. Well, now they have the immigration thing that they're orchestrating to a degree and in various ways. A plane coming in, gotta talk louder. This would have pulled the rug out. Now they don't have anything. now they're back to, we just don't like Trump, so you should vote for us. Because if they talk crap about the wall or anything like that, it's going to be like, you're south of national security. Trump showed us, facts about how these guys are trying to get in, and how I'm sure some of them have gotten in. And it would take away political capital from the Democrats and pass it on over to the GOP, namely to Trump and his proposed plan for the border, which started at $20 billion. He's conceded down to $5 billion. But that's enough on that. That's all he had to do. But, all right. Subscribe.